Michael Saruggia is going to present on how he's built out a competitive intelligence agent that's monitoring their rivals in real time and then automatically identifies which accounts are most likely to switch when something goes sideways with the competitor. And then he's got an automated campaign that goes with it. And I'll just say from the beginning, Michael was saying this is an enterprise use case, but I've been in a lot of less than $100 million companies that I think this kind of a use case would work really well for too. I think you have to scale it down. So I'd love to hear how people also would think about scaling this down. And with that, I will pass it over to Michael.
Cool. So today we're going to talk about a competitor takeout strategy. Okay. And in particular, today's topics is about monitoring your own competitors, both direct competitors and both non-direct competitors, figuring out when something happened to these competitors. It always happens something, right? It can be a lawsuit. It can be a privacy concern. It can be a change in pricing that is really affecting their customer base. Maybe they are having legal problems. Maybe they are having whatever kind of problems. And we really want to be reactive to these problems and turn these problems, those opportunities into prospecting sequence and an opportunity for us. Okay, so it will be involving monitoring the competitors, monitoring when something bad happened to them, creating a target list of a customer base of your competitors, looking up which one is your ICP. If it is a software company, we can even reverse engineer the contract renewal dates of those softwares, how to coordinate the outreach, and what's an ideal contract buyout offer proposal. Okay. Elisa, you were saying that, yeah, it totally works with any case. It works particularly well, not if you're an enterprise company, but if you're selling to enterprises, in my opinion, especially if you're selling to big ACVs. Okay. It works anyway, but I think it's extremely powerful if you have an enterprise go-to-market. Okay. About me, really, 2 seconds. I'm one of the very, very first go-to-market engineers. I was in the top 5 in the Clay website. I have the world record in terms of trained go-to-market engineers, one-on-one, over than 120.
I love that world record.
Yeah,
impressive.
Crazy, but true. Yeah. Actually, in the last 3 years, it really worked basically. And I had my very first Clay demo directly with the founder, just saying how early I was in the strand, one of the very first user of ChatGPT in Europe. I help over 20 mid-market tech companies in go-to-market engineering processes, and I host a golf event in New York among go-to-market leaders. The problem, I think it's extremely difficult to add scarcity in the sales cycle or in prospecting in general, right? Scarcity, it's a very powerful level, but it only works B2C usually, and it's very difficult to actually create artificial scarcity. For example, a prospecting campaign usually works very well when there's a why now, but it's very difficult to actually create that why now. And it's very difficult to add scarcity in the sales cycle in general to cut your sales cycles. Unless there's something happening in your prospect account. For example, they are allocating budget right now, they are raising money, they are doing whatever. It's very difficult to create it. And I want to show you a way to actually really create it using news and using competitors' takeout strategies. And news have this power, they are very powerful, but it's very tough to operationalize a process where you can collect news and use them at your advantage. Okay? Context. I'll make a practical example, and after the slide, I will go practical and I will build with you so you can see exactly what I'm doing so you can replicate it ideally. Okay. Let's invent a case. Okay. Let's say that we are selling HubSpot CRM. Everybody knows HubSpot, so it's very easy. We want to monitor competitors like Zoho, Salesforce, whatever. And we want to react to news and still in brackets client, okay? Monitor. Let's go from the first part. Let's remember, we are HubSpot. Let's try to build this together, okay? First, you have to find all your competitors, okay? You have to do this manually. You can do this with Claude, whatever you want. And we need the company URLs. This is a clay table, okay? It's already built, but let's build this together. Okay. Let's call this competitors, okay? Now I want a way to actually get when something bad, like a lawsuit, privacy concern, changing pricing, whatever viral news happen to these competitors, okay? How can I do this? And especially I can put it on autopilot this way. I can use an AI agent, in this case, agent. I can configure it, and I can say something like, for competitors, try to figure out if this company recently experienced a bad PR news, reputation, a lawsuit, a privacy concern, or something bad that got really viral. By the way, I'm not typing, I'm using my voice. I'm using a whisper flow to actually type everything so I can move faster. This works very well, especially in Claude, in Clay, when you actually have to move faster in prompting. Okay.
I'm impressed that it understands your Italian accent because he never understands my French accent.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I'm really trying my best. I even have a coach. I have a coach.
That must be why.
In having a better pronunciation, and it's tough. Yeah, I really try my best. Cool. Okay. By the way, I only want something that is very recent, and it's the 12th of June, 2026. Please return true and false, true or false, and the link of the URL. What is very important when prompting is actually giving very precise information. Then you can auto-generate the prompt, okay? We want a true, false, and we want the link, okay? Save, run 10 rows. Let's see what happened.
Hey, Michael, I have a question on that.
Sure.
So you put the date in, but you said very recent.
Yep.
And to me, that's not super precise. Like I would give it a 2-week window or something like that. But then it's also not dynamic. Would you set up a new one every couple of weeks? Or would you try to set this up to say, like every 10 days, run a new query? Or, like I'm just trying to think through how to automate this as much as possible.
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually. It's step 2. And there's a very cool trick, which is this. Click agent, and you can say something like, what's today date? There's a website that basically tells you what's today date. And you can go here, and you can say something like, what's today date? Oh, scrape it from here. You can put this, return the date, and okay, save, run 10 rows. And basically this way, every day you can get a different date. So you can basically make it run every day. This is a very cool trick. It's an amazing question, by the way. And what you can do actually is you put the date here. Instead of the actual date, you put the previous date. Sorry, the date that was generated by the prompt. Let's wait a second because it's generating everything.
No, that's really cool. That would save so much time to just have it set up that way.
Okay. Let's wait a second so he can generate. Okay, now I see why. Say, don't run. Yeah, this is a very cool trick. Otherwise, exactly doesn't have really a reference about what's today's date.
Yeah, Michael, Dan just put in the chat that there's a free Clay column for current date time, so you don't have to waste Clay credits.
Oh, really? And you can
Oh,
auto rerun it?
wow, Dan's gonna.
Yeah. And you can auto rerun it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've used it in some. I may be wrong, but
This
yeah,
one?
today's date. Yeah.
Oh, let me check. If name is not time for. Oh no, this is mine. Sorry. Format. This is my enrichment. Can you remember the name of it? Maybe we
I
can
think it
check.
was format datetime, but I'll have to double check.
Format date time. No,
And
this
then I think there's
basically
like a,
reformat a date.
yeah, I think there's some kind of variable you could throw in there, but just in case it helps save credits, might be something to look into.
But that's actually very cool if you have it. Otherwise, basically what you have to do is this really work, and then you can go here and you can say auto the rerun columns on a schedule, and you can make it rerun every day, right? So every day basically you get a new date and it auto rerun basically. But yeah, if you have one, it will be even better. Okay, now we have some news. We have true false, but I mean, I think this playbook only really works if the news is very viral. Okay. For example, I was working with an HR company and its direct competitor, a very big company, received like a massive lawsuit. And something really bad happened and it was extremely viral all over LinkedIn. That's the perfect case because you want your prospects aware of the bad news. And what you can do actually now is you really want to evaluate if the news is good or not. Maybe your VP marketing want to evaluate it because it's a very powerful action. And this table basically allows you to monitor all the competitors. And what I usually suggest is to add Slack notification. So every time something bad happens, you can receive a Slack message with the LinkedIn URL, the URL of the news, and the name of the competitor. Then your team can evaluate whether or not it's a good news or not. But at least on Autopilot, you can get a notification whether something is happening to your competitors. Okay? And again, if you want to run this on Autopilot, how you do this is very easy on Clay. Rerun columns on a schedule. You select both of them. So basically, maybe on a weekly basis, what's happening is that find again today's date, find again whether there's a recent news. Send again the Slack notification only if it's really a potential bad news.
Can you click on the example when there's a PR newswire,
Yep.
just to see, or any of them, see what example you may have found? I mean, obviously, it's one-time example. It's not representative of everything it could do, but that's a good one.
For example, this is not a huge news in my opinion, but it's not even bad because, you know, when a company cuts a lot of jobs, you can probably reach out to end users saying, this is why you don't have support if you reach out to Freshworks.
Yeah, well, you could say Freshworks is struggling. You've seen they to cut jobs, right? So it may not be supporting you or innovating.
Yeah, but I think when it's really powerful is when you have something like legal related, something that affect your data. For example, let's say that you are working with enterprise companies and you find out that a competitor had a huge privacy concern and you reach out to head of legal of the customer saying, now your vendor have legal problems and privacy problems, you have a problem too. I think he will listen at least, right?
You know, actually, we were fortunate to have the mother of all problems when drifted a security issue with Salesforce when Salesforce data was stolen. And I'm very keen on looking at your demo because we didn't act fast enough on it. We could have gone so fast to take everybody. It took us a long time with it. Where do we go with the campaign?
Very cool.
Yeah.
I will make you another example that happened to me. For example, Clay changed the pricing. And basically for one subgroup of their customers, Clay wasn't profitable enough. For example, for small agencies, now Clay is very expensive. And some of the competitors actually reach out to all the Clay users saying, now Clay is too expensive for you. Switch to my organization, switch to my company.
That was effective.
Another very interesting, yeah. Okay, now we have it. Let's go back here. Monitor. Target list, okay? Let's say that something bad happened to Salesforce. Now we want to find all the accounts that are using Salesforce. Let's remember we are HubSpot right now. And in particular, maybe not all Salesforce customers are your ICP, right? We only want to find a subset of Salesforce customers that are your ICP. And we want to find companies with Salesforce. Okay, how can we do that? Okay. Oh. Okay. There's a very powerful tool that's called HG Insights. HG Insights basically is a company that through web scraping, surveys, internal information, interviews, finds out what is the technology stack of companies. So basically, for example, given apple.com through HG Insights, you can actually know what software is using. Okay, so in our cases, we want to use HG Insights to figure out what companies are using Salesforce. Why? Because it had an hypothetical lawsuit. Okay.
Michael, is there a separate, do you have to have a separate subscription to HG Insights? I'm assuming yes, but the way you're setting it up, it looks like it's just connected.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily not, because HG Insights is very expensive, by the way. And if you have a standard Clay plan, it's included. You will only waste Clay credits. So very, very good news, basically.
Got it. Yeah.
And okay, you can maybe let's do 30. Submit. You can even put 1,000, 2,000, 10,000. Okay. Now, if you have your own account list, you can do a lookup, or maybe you can analyze those companies and figure out if it is your ICP. Once you're here, by the way, this is just an example. You can put any filter. You can put geography, category, industry, number of employees, annual revenue, whatever, basically. Okay. And now the trick is HG. We call again HG Insights. And we want to use this verified technology usage. You want to put Salesforce CRM again. And in particular, I wanted to include this one. You see, include product first verified date. Basically, this is the date when the product was first verified. Meaning that more or less, we would know when the contract with Salesforce started. product first verified date. And if you know the product first verified date, more or less, we know that software have a yearly, monthly, or quarterly plan. So we can reverse engineer more or less when the contract with Salesforce is about to expire. How? GPT, Oracle Agent. Even, okay. This is the product first verified date of a software. We want to reverse engineer the contract renewal date of the software. In particular, we know that software usually renew with a yearly, monthly, or quarterly basis. So given the first date and given today's date, please try to figure out what are the next 3 probable contract renewal dates for this company. Return the 3 dates. Okay. Now we have those results. And now we can basically score these companies, right? Let's say that you have a huge list. This won't be like very precise, but you would have an understanding. Then you can score them and you can figure out where Salesforce is about to expire. Okay. And then we have the next step. Engage, refine the account list, get relevant people, and then I really suggest usually executive outreach, right? We have the companies. From the companies, we can find the people. People. You can put your seniority, title.
Michael, I missed something. Salesforce has like 100,000 customers. Did you import 100,000 customers there, or there was a subset that you had selected?
Yeah, exactly. I only put a subset because it's pretty expensive, basically. You have 8 credits per
and how did you decide what subset to take here?
Sorry?
How did you decide which subset to take here? Or you just give me the first?
Yeah, exactly. In this case, it was random. I just took the first 20, 25.
Okay.
What I usually suggest, let's say that you have 10,000 of them and you have your own top 1,000 account list. You can get first or the Salesforce customers. You look up your top 1,000 account list. And then you basically know your top 1,000 account list, which one is Salesforce right now. This is usually the trick.
Okay.
Or to make it less expensive, you can start with your top 5,000 account list, and you can figure out whether or not they have Salesforce.
Okay.
That's even better, I think. Engage. You find the people. I'm a huge fan of executive outreach. So if you can connect the profile of your own executive and outreach directly from those accounts, it's way much more powerful. And finally, what I found interesting is the kind of offer, the kind of proposal, or the kind of outreach you can leverage. Again, it really depends on the kind of news. For example, the one about Clay changing pricing, you have one kind of messaging. The one about fresh work, cutting 500 people, you have another kind of messaging. But in general, what I think is winning is offering free migration if possible. For example, let's say they have to go from HubSpot to Salesforce. Maybe you can put some system integrators to actually do the migration. You can offer your solution for free till the end of your competitor's contract, especially if it is about to expire. So it's a real contract buyout, let's say, strategy. Starting from your competitors, monitoring the news, figuring out if something bad happened, checking the right competitor, figuring out what companies are using your competitor right now, figuring out what's ICP for you, coordinate the outreach, and finally, a contract buyout proposal.